Good evening and bonjour. We acknowledge and pay our respects to the Boon Wurrung and Wurrung peoples of the Kulin Nation, the traditional custodian of the land on which we are virtually gathered today. We pay our respect to their elders, past, present and emerging, and acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander here today. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. Yoki, Grégoire, Aurel, Charlie, welcome to the show. Welcome to our listeners as well, wherever you are. Welcome all to Talent Punk Free Will Edition. Free will is a big subject. Is free will an illusion or the greatest gift to human beings? We are convinced that we make conscious choices, intention and decisions as we live our lives. But instead, it may be that our brain just convinces itself that it made a free choice from the available options after the decision is made. Are we the victims of genetics and environment, or do we bear responsibility for our choice of action? Responsibility for decision among alternatives, or for discerning good and evil? Such a dilemma. So tonight, let's look at it through the lens of a pro wingsuit skydiver and athlete, a skier and mountaineer, and a musical and visual duo. Joki, Grégoire, and everyone, good evening. Joki, how are you, my friend?
I'm great.
We'll start with you.
All right, sounds good.
You're such a hard man to track and to have. I'm so pleased that we've been able to catch up and you're on the show. I want to talk a bit about your life and obviously your free will. But do you want to introduce yourself? Do you want to tell us who you are? And then we'll show just a little video after you do that, showing who you are.
So my name is Yoki Sommer, and I'm from Norway. I grew up in a village or in a small town outside of Oslo, and I started extreme sports at a young age, or like motor sports first, motocross, and then snowboarding, and then eventually I started skydiving at age 21, and from there I embarked on this journey to become a base jumper, and eventually that became my career. And that's like, again, with free will, like I feel like that was kind of already set, and I didn't even know. Like I was just on this journey, and I fell in love with skydiving, and all of a sudden I found myself being a base jumper and creating videos, and that led to me actually creating a career out of it, and one thing lead to another, like going from being a YouTube phenomenon back in the days when wingsuiting wasn't that popular, and then creating a TV show with another friend of mine, which then led to a Red Bull contract. And so all of that was very, I would say it was mainly my determination and my love for something that put me on that path. But I think the term free will does not match with that specific scenario, because I didn't even that was not even my dream as a child. It was, I had a dream of flying, like as every other kid has, but nothing in particular of creating a life out of it, and
nice.
And stopping to work and fully focus on just jumping off a cliff and sleeping in a tent or on a friend's sofa, and just to be able to jump as much as possible and work as little as possible. So
hey Craig, do you want to show a little bit about Yoki?
Yeah.
day-to-day job, yeah.
That was a little line up in Brisbane.
Hey, there's a person who called you the propeller kids. But can you give us a story about that?
Yeah, I mean, when I was a child, I was very energetic, and I always wanted things to happen. Like, I like to jump from cliffs into the water, and I was sometimes a little reckless. At age 12, I was already exploring the boundaries of, what are you allowed to do, what are you not allowed to do. I think, like, with every other kids, like, some kids are more, they need more space than others. And I was definitely one of those kids where I couldn't just sit still and focus on a school task, and I needed to play, I needed to be outside, I needed to sometimes we even did bad stuff, so it wasn't always like good, but it was kids being kids. So it was one of those where you grow up and you don't really know who you are, and you're just being told to do this and do that. And again, this is the thing of free will, where what they want you to do does not correspond with who you are. So you do, whatever you can to create a difference, or to create or to force yourself in a different path.
You told me Oslo was too small, or was a nice place to grow up, but not enough action for you.
Well, we grew up like a little bit outside of Oslo, so for
Yeah.
sure there it was quite small. I'm pretty happy I didn't grow up in Oslo, actually, because it wouldn't be the same path today. But back then, like, we started experimenting with drugs at a very young age, and we started partying and doing stuff that normally when you're a teenager is better to focus on sports or focus on healthy activities. But we did a bit of a combination of both.
You did both.
I think it was good and bad.
Yeah.
Of course, it was a good lesson to learn, and to make me stay away from it in my 20s, to then focus fully on my career and sports in general. But yeah, like, growing up in that place was definitely, it's more like suburban areas, smaller communities, where if you do stick out, everyone is going to notice. And yeah, that can for sure be a challenge for a kid. But looking back at it, I'm pretty happy that I grew up exactly that way, because it kind of prepared me for what is today, and how life is right now. So for sure, it's pros and cons both ways, and starting young with, for example, stuff that is not good for you is definitely, it can either go really bad or it can turn out to be a very good lesson. So I managed to do a good lesson out of it. So that was good. And of course it was, it was a fun time.
When did you, because you said, high risk was my calling. When did you find out that, was it like, I'm young and I just want to do stuff, and whether it's risky or not, but when you started to do really risky stuff, when did you find out that was what you wanted to do?
Well, I don't think it was the risk in itself. It was more the feeling that wingsuit flying created. Like, the freedom of, exploring in the mountains and being able to fly back home, in a sense. Like, it was, at that time it was so, like, it was so unreal. Nowadays it's a bit more saturated. So for sure it's probably a different story now, but I think everyone will feel the same when they embark on that journey, is that, when you're able to fly off a cliff and feel that sense of disconnection from the world, and where nothing really matters anymore, because you're not even, like, you're stepped off, you're in free fall, so you're not even on the ground, you're not even, you're kind of nowhere but in between. And and life can only continue after the parachute opens and you land safely on the ground. And until then, nothing really, like, it can be anything going on in your life or in the world, but it has absolutely no meaning or no importance in that particular moment, which is quite a liberating sensation, you know. Like, it's probably a way of meditating, but in a different way. Shorter, more compressed in a sense, or more but more extreme in the moment.
Yeah.
But extreme for me, it's like, you know, I'm already, like, I've always been afraid of heights, so it didn't really add up with me being a base jumper. But for example, if I'm climbing, or, you know, going in unsecured up a very steep cliff, like, that for me is like extremely tiring psychologically, you know, like mentally draining.
Yeah.
So, and of course that would be being extreme, you know, but that part I don't like about it. So for me, I think the wingsuit flying is more connecting me to, you know, being free in a short moment. And I think that's what I love the most about it.
You had a close call in 2010. Do you want to talk about that in Switzerland? And what has changed since that day?
That was quite an interesting experience, actually, because, you know, like, back then I was flying really close to the wall. I was always going really, really close, and, like, to me that was what was feeling thrilling, or feeling like it was like a challenge.
Yeah.
So at this one cliff, I was flying really close, and then there was this rock that was sticking out around the corner. So I thought it was going to hit my palm, like the back of my hand, and I pull in my arm to kind of avoid it, but then I pull it in a little bit too aggressively, so I end up, like, dipping sideways, you know. And as I was going around the corner, there was another corner that came up, and as I dip my shoulder down, or pull my arm in, my shoulder dips down, and then the suit kind of goes towards the cliff. And it was this little rocky corner where it was like kind of like, yeah, like this, you know, where you had to fly like out here, but my trajectory was in there. And I remember, like, I saw the trajectory and I was already 100% sure that's not gonna work, but it was this instant acceptance. It was just like, oh shit, like, now I'm gonna die, like. But it was totally fine. Like, there was nothing bad about that in itself. But then I started feeling bad for, like, my girlfriend being down at the hotel, which was also a fellow jumper, my parents, and I was kind of like, fuck, this was kind of like a suicide, you know. This was like, you know, this could have been avoided, and all these thoughts going through, and like everything going very slow. And as I'm going through all these thoughts, I'm correcting the situation by going fully 180 degree on the other side. So I throw myself and I use the little energy that is left in the suit and the speed to be able to, you know, to catch some momentum. And like, it was super strange because, you know, looking at the wall was like in my face, like going super slow motion, and I could think about all these things and kind of like, you know, address what was going on, but also like being super comfortable with it and being fully acceptance that, oh, I'm going in, you know. But then I'm passing this ledge, and I think, like, when you see in the video, the whoa comes like a few seconds later. And when I actually go through the video, from the moment I pull in my arm until I pass the point that I'm in a safe place, it's 1 second and a 1500. So, you know, there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff going on in that 1 second, where, you know, you can remember pretty much like every single detail.
Wow.
You know, from these little flowers and the little grass on the ledge, and every single detail. So it's like there's 1 second that is so compressed of information, which is quite interesting because it just makes us realize that, you know, there is so much more between life and death, and how our brain perception of time, and how we perceive time, and how relevant it is compared to the chemicals that is released in your brain.
Yeah.
I don't know if you or anyone has tried DMT, but that's one of those where that's one of those experiences.
Hang on. Oh yeah.
that would truly show you the definition of time and space, and
yeah,
and everything in between life and death that we cannot put, you know, a scientific conclusion on, because it's just so remarkable what's going on in between stuff that we cannot see and perceive in our daily life. So
what were your learnings? What did you learn from that experience?
Well, that learning, it was
that you weren't invincible, or you weren't bulletproof.
Well, I was more in the sense of that, you know, that I really wanted to live, and that I definitely didn't have to fly that close to the wall again. I would think that, you know, that there's lessons to be learned. Well, I was still very young. I remember, like, when I got back to the hotel, like, I got super depressed. So that was a really strange thing, because you would think that after you have that incident, you would be very, like, you know, super thrilled about being alive, and super like, wow, you know, fuck, that was almost. But actually you were like super down in the basement, and it's kind of crazy because it feels like you had accepted it, and that you were like, fuck, but I should have been there now. And there's this weird stuff going through your mind, like emotionally and mentally, and like, so you just feel very weak, and kind of almost feel like, you know, that you accepted it so much that you were ready to go, and then you're still here. And it's like, but it's really weird, you know, it's like, it's something hard to really describe, because, you know, I think everyone that has had a close call can relate to it if they really felt like 100% sure they were dying. And then afterwards you're not, and then you have to reflect on it. And I think that's what hits, you know, because then you have to reflect on everyone that should have been sad right now, you know. And it was another interesting thing that happened the day after. I called my camera flyer at that time, and I told him the story, and he got kind of shocked, because the night before my incident, he had a dream that he was in my funeral.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and it was really strange, because like for him that was kind of like, whoa, you know, he wasn't really much into this spiritual stuff, and like, you know, this type of ideology and stuff. So for him it was a bit of a surprise, because it was like, oh shit, like I literally had a dream that I was in your funeral, and it was super real and super vivid. So he was kind of feeling bad, because he was like, shit, I should have told you. But I was like, yeah, but nothing would have changed, you know. It would have just been us talking about a dream of you being in my funeral. And of course, like, you don't want to tell that to your base jumping friend as well. It doesn't make too much it's not the best vibe to give. But of course, like, I think he reflected on it in the sense of like, well, next time I have that, I should warn my friends.
Craig, I want you to show that narrow bridge, because we'll talk about that feeling that you have.
After several days of waiting, the weather has finally cleared up, and the guys will try another attempt. You guys focused? Yeah? Good?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Ok, ramène-nous un peu par là, vers la droite. Regarde qu'est-ce que ça donne là. Ok, là, qu'est-ce que t'as vu? Démolition, ouais. Okay, we're getting in position over the bridge. Rocky, Aspen, still focused? Alright, let's go. How we doing, boys?
How do you do that?
Good times.
What's that feeling? That feeling of flying when you go, you know, you were talking about going close to the wall, but doing that kind of stunt, or I don't know how you call it, but what happens in your head? What happens in your head when you do that?
In the moment, you're just super focused, and you're in a very extreme state of flow that you barely don't even. I don't even think we're blinking with our eyes, but like the moment you land, there is this huge relief, because you know, building up to something like that, and especially if you're shooting something, it's a project and it's not just something you just do for the fun of it by yourself. There is all this, you know, there is everyone involved. There is, you know, the camaraderie and the risk of everyone, you know, like it doesn't need to be only me getting through there, but everyone needs to get through there. So there is this huge sense of relief when you land, where you know that you can rest, you can like just sit and feel the emotion and the excitement without having any stressful thoughts or any feeling concerned or any tension on the build up, like, because everyone is getting, you know, it's getting in a state of mind where we're very focused but also very nervous, and I think it's like, you know, it's this explosion of euphoria that comes out, which is actually mainly linked to the excitement of that, you know, it's finished, it's all good, we made it, and you know, we can go and have a lovely dinner now and just laugh about it. And there's this relief, I think, because you kind of end up in this situation where you have to do it, you know, like you create these things, and then you cannot just stand, or you could, but you know, most athletes are not gonna just like get to the moment of, okay, now it's go time and then pull out, you know, except if it's really bad conditions or you simply cannot go. But then you wouldn't already be in that situation all the way to the top and just looking at it from the helicopter and then say, okay, let's go, you know. So there is this moment of relief that is just so overwhelming and so good that, you know, makes it all worth it to do it again.
What do you think is the future of wingsuit flying?
Well, I think the long-term future is that it becomes more dynamic. It's like, for example, Aspen, Espen, who is also in that video. He is probably the one that I would say is at the forefront of everything nowadays, because he's becoming such a dynamic ninja in a sense, like where you're flying so much with so much flow and in a dynamic way where you fly on all angles, and it's pretty much being able to fly, flying terrain but vertical, and with carving and kind of create this more dynamic relationship with wingsuit terrain flying.
Yeah.
Where when we were flying mostly terrain is more about flying close and flying a nice line, but now you can maybe go a little bit further away from the wall and then fly it maybe on your back, or fly it going down a vertical cliff and then put the suits vertical and do some carves, head down carving, that type of flying. And then of course we're going to get to a point where there's going to be more rigid wings in the mountains. Of course, with Jetman and that incident, that was of course a huge setback in the future of that. But I also think that's going to be more common in the next generation.
Yeah,
maybe it's going to be more battery driven engines, same as what the boys have been trying a bit now.
Yeah,
but with more power and more ability to.
So you're talking about Fred Friggin, is that?
Yeah, or Vince that had the accident.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fred and Vince, they were pretty much the forefront of the rockets and being able to fly with machines. So
man,
that is also, I think it's something that's going to be more and more, but of course it requires a bigger team around, because it's not just something you just strap on your back and jump off. So it's a bit more work that you have to put into it. So it's not accessible for everyone, but I think with technology and batteries becoming lighter and better, and engines being able to give more trust of with less power. So
men becoming birds.
Yeah, men becoming birds, maybe.
Men becoming birds. Hey, there's a new project that you've been on for the past year or so. It's called the Escape Yacht. We've got a bit of things to show everyone what the Escape Yacht is about. It's a beautiful thing, so I'd love you to talk to us about that.
Yeah, so the Escape is actually, I've had this dream of sailing and starting to, create a new path, in a sense, where I can be able to travel the world. Like, I've been traveling the world for so many years, but I've never felt at home anywhere. So I realized that, okay, if I live in an apartment, I always want to go away from that apartment and go elsewhere and live my life somewhere else and go and explore and have some fun with my friends and not really stay at home. So I realized, now I'm 36, I need to create a home where I will actually feel at home, but at the same time I can live everywhere and anywhere.
Yeah.
And live where I can be in activities and create a living out of it by hosting people and creating adventures for others.
Nice.
Because of course we have been very good at creating our own dreams and creating projects to do what we love to do, but now I rather want to create projects and dreams that others have, by hosting people on the sailboat and creating projects for now around Norway. So we're focusing on a place called Stad, where we just arrived yesterday actually, and being able to bring ski and sail. That's a very popular thing here in Norway, but also surfing. So we're going to do surf, ski and sail, where we have an access to an infinite amount of waves, a lot of them not being even discovered, some of them being discovered but never surfed. And then we have about 20 peaks with Tom Eric Hyman, a good friend of mine who is an exceptionally good mountaineer and local guide who knows these mountains from 40 years, more than 40 years. And he has the ability to bring people, both either beginners or people that are so extremely advanced in the mountains, and to really bring them to stuff that is unreal to ski, and then of course use the boat as the base, and host people there comfortably with private chefs and people that can really give a very authentic Norwegian food experience. So we have another friend of mine who is running a farm, and he's doing all the hunting, all the fishing, and preparing everything on the farm. So it's straight from the farm to the boat, and by doing this, we can really offer something exclusive and rare in the area, because most of the boats, they're up in Lofoten.
Yeah.
So we're focusing more on the west coast and Sunnmøre, where we do have maybe even more skiing days than up in the north. So of course now I focus a bit here, and then eventually the goal is to take the boat around the world and sail the whole, maybe not the entire circle, because between Sumatra and I would say between India and the Mediterranean, I'm not as interested to go.
Yeah.
So I'll probably do the other way around, and then maybe even get down to Patagonia. We'll see if I feel good enough of a sailor to go around Cape Horn, and then up to Patagonia from there, and then and all of these trips are going to be multiple types of adventures that people can buy a slot and to take part in. And of course, if we're in Patagonia, it will be good to be there for a while and host multiple groups. And this will be kind of like, as we go, the groups will change based on where we are. Some people want to surf tropical, some people want to surf in the northern Norway, and some people want to go Faroe Islands, and some want to go to Fiji, and others want to go to Patagonia. So it's like, the groups and the dynamic will change as we go and as we continue to sail. So, but it's like, it's a starting project. It was a very, for me, it has been a project that has been very scary for me to start, way more scary than base jumping, because it was a huge investment. But also, when I did agree to build the boat, I didn't even know anything about boats or sailing, so I had to learn everything from scratch, and I had to take a yacht master education and to really learn everything from the bottom, and then hope that this was going to all work out. And and now still being in the process of, I just created the website, and now I'm gonna create the page for the winter activities, so that should be finished next week, and then from there on try and create more momentum with it, and create a very unique travel experience for those who want to do a little escape.
All the best, and Aurélien, I'm sure I can, you guys can do something.
Yeah, maybe we should do a project, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Really, that smells good.
Excellent.
Do you do sometimes hiking as well?
Oh yeah, a lot. Way hiking than skiing, but I like it.
Nice.
Yeah.
We'll show you that. We'll show you that. Hey, Yoki, before we move to another person, free will for you, illusion or the greatest gift?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I think it's a mixture of both, and both of them fighting with each other, where we do want to have and believe that we do have free will, but we are so conditioned by society and by those around us and by how society wants us to live, that is very hard. And I think very few people have free will. I think it's a gift that is there and present in us, but majority of the people in the world does not have free will. And that is because there is too much outside forces making you do decision based on what is so said to be right or wrong, compared to what we choose to do as a human being with what I would say the mechanics of having the potential to have free will. But I think to reach to that ultimate point of having fully free will, and it doesn't even matter like how much money you have or who you are as a person. And like then some of the people I work for, they're billionaires and they have the least amount of free will that I've ever noticed, because their work or their life that is connected to the wealth they have or managed to build up is fully taking the free will away from their life. So I think some people for sure have free will 100%, but majority of us we're a little stuck and conditioned by what society wants us to do. And I mean we saw that under COVID, huh? Like COVID was a very this was probably the biggest incident in human history where we could really see that free will was an illusion for most people, and we were conditioned to follow what the will of some imaginary authority coming out of a screen would tell you. No one even knows if are these illusions or and this is the thing where we can go deep in this conversation for hours, and is even reality just an illusion? So it's like there is lots of ways to look at it, but I like it's hard to say. It's something I'm not skilled enough to put my scientific word on it, but I think there's a mix of everything, that some very strong individuals have it, while many of us we don't.
Nice. Thank you, Oki. You stay with us?
Yes.
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Oh, pleasure.
I really appreciate it being a guest on your show. Thank you.
It took what, 3 months to put it together, but we finally did it. Next, and not the least on as a guest, Abraham Fogg, so Grégoire and Charles-Edouard. Thank you so much for being on the show. How are you, gentlemen?
We are fine. Thank you.
Excellent.
Oh, good.
My first question to you, gents, is who is Abraham Fogg? So there's a few questions. We'll show an intro first, and then we can talk about the name, where the name comes from. Where do you guys come from as well? But Craig, do you want to show this couple of minutes? Wow. So when I saw that the first time, I was, gobsmacked. I will explain a bit later why I wanted to have you on the show and what is your relationship to free will. We'll talk a bit about that after. Grégoire, producer, composer, artistic director, and Charlie, filmmaker, art director. How did you guys meet? And where is the name coming from? And tell us everything about you. Who wants to start?
Do you want to start, Charlie?
I can start. So I'm Charlie. I'm the more cinema in the early days, like cinema driven of both of us. As I did a cinema school in Nantes, which is where I met Grégoire, probably more than 10 years ago now. But originally I'm from Strasbourg, so I grew up in the countryside in the east part of France, close to Germany. I did, when I was young, my fair share of travel because of my parents mostly, and I lived in India for almost 2 years. And it's coming back from India, being in the setting of surrounded by Bollywood industry, that coming back to France, I actually found this cinema school in France, in Nantes. So with this trip, I probably wouldn't have go this way for my career, because small I wanted to fly as well. I wanted to become a pilot, and I have my pilot license. And on the side, I was always directing short movies and horror movie, mostly with my little brothers. But I never imagined to make a job out of it. And so coming back
from making horror movies to wanting to fly and to be the film director for DJ Snake. How do you handle that?
There's no clear link between all of this, but I just have a really open mind and always welcome any opportunity coming my way, and nice. I really enjoy what I do and put myself fully into every single thing that come my way. And so from meeting people to contact to other projects, I jump from all those different little universe and world. And so in Nantes, we met with Grégoire 10 years ago, and I worked as a videographer for his old band called Mungai, and we became really close friends pretty fast, and always worked we really wanted to do a lot of things together, and we parted ways because for a few years, because I moved to the US working for other artists. Mm-hmm. And COVID is kind of the event that brought us back, because it bring me back to France, and we had a lot of time in front of us, and we just decided that was the time that we can finally work for ourselves and for our project, rather than working for other people. So it's a little bit all over the place, but
no, it's great. And Grégoire, Abraham Fogg, where is that coming from?
Abraham Fogg is the son of Abraham Lincoln and Phileas Fogg. So Phileas Fogg is a persona from Jules Verne, Le Tour du Monde en 80 jours. I don't know how you say that.
Travel,
what's the official name of it?
Traveling around the world in 80 days. Yeah, from Jules Verne. Yeah.
So it's I don't know, a close friend, imaginary friend, maybe.
Why Abraham Lincoln? Just
I don't know. I love the bird, maybe. No, it's. I always loved politics, and I'm very admirative of people that, I don't know, take responsibilities for others, And I thought in an artistic environment, it was fun to have this kind of provocation in a way. I don't know.
So you guys have released an album, so your first album, called Black Cooler. I think I don't know, Yoki, if you understand or if you know Black Cooler. It's a Swedish. So tell us the story about Black Cooler, the Swedish. This is the mountain where the witches come for the Sabbath. Is that ceremony? And they meet the devil there. Yes, is that or in history? Yeah,
totally. It's an island actually.
An island, yeah, in Sweden, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a mythical island.
Yeah,
but it's inspired by a true island. It was a story that parents tell to their child to make them scared.
Yeah.
I don't know if Shoki, you know this story. A close friend of mine is from Sweden, and he was the one who told me about that actually.
No, I haven't heard about it.
Okay.
Maybe a travel to do there.
Yeah, maybe we can sail
find the real island. Yeah,
find the real one. Yeah,
find the witches. Let's not. Tell us about that project. So Black Cooler. Tell us about it. The concept, the storyline, and the style. Because the style as well, we can see that with your music. There's so much stuff to talk about you two. I don't know where to start sometimes. So yeah.
So I would start it. I discovered a film. I think it's considered to be one of the first horror film in Axan, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a shock for me. I liked the theme. I liked the image of it. I liked the story of it also, because this film was at the beginning it was to educate people in small areas in Northern Europe to stop believe in witches and this kind of stuff. And it didn't go that way because the directors thought it was really fun to make very descriptive and realistic reproductions. And he was also, how to put that simply, he was he made it scary. That's the point. So when the film was released, it was forbidden everywhere in Europe, and it was paid by European politics to educate people. So it was this kind of contradictory story in this film that I liked. It was a bit provocative, and it's really a documentary at first. It's not not a film. But when you watch it, even today, it's really scary. It's strange. It's
we've got
evocative.
I'll let you keep going, but we'll show you, because we've got the version versus Abraham Fox. So we'll
okay, cool.
But so keep going. Yeah, sorry.
So I went from this, and I wanted to do a new album, and started watching it every day to compose. It was kind of a trance thing. I don't know. I put the film, I compose on it, and I improvise stuff. So at first it started like this, and I talked about the music to Charlie and the film also, and said to him, so here is the music. I don't really know what to do with it because it's so strange, and it was just for my personal pleasure in a way. And he told me like it could be a good opportunity to start working together on something that's yeah, just working on something and maybe do our own film on the music, because he didn't see the film at first. He just listened to the music. Maybe music. Charlie, you can take it from there.
No, the one important thing for people that don't know the movie, and it's that the movie is silent. It got released in the early 1920, I think. And so Grégoire composed, maybe, I don't know, when they used to play it, and back in the days they used to have like music on top of it, or like someone playing next to it. But Grégoire composed the first ever maybe score for this silent movie.
Can we show it and then we'll talk about it? Craig, when you're ready.
So yeah, you can think of child watching it in the earlier this century to be educated, to not be scared at night. It didn't work. It didn't work. So from there sorry, Charlie, go on.
Vas-y.
So at this point we thought like maybe we can do more than just a live show with showing this film and play on it, and we start thinking we can do our own short film on the music, like if the music was possessed by this first film, and then do our own film on it. And so we start to think about what would be the modern figures of witches.
Yep.
And we wrote a series of short films about modern figures of the witch.
Yeah.
And the idea was to do each film will have his own identity in his own genre. So the first one was called Hypnosis. It was a dream I made, and it's an horror film, but about two people, a couple. It's very serious in a way. The second one is fake documentary, a mockumentary, about an artist that come from the same city as me. I'm from Saint-Nazaire. It's a place where we build big boats and stuff.
It's a port,
yeah. Then we just released a new one, which is about two kids. It's more of it's always about witches. It's but always in a different way. And the other thing we wanted to make is an experience for the audience that is very immersive. So we shot a bit more than 1 hour film in black and white to put the audience in kind of strange ceremonial hardcore experience live. That's what you showed, but there is a lot of declinations of this. So
nice. So I wanted to when I discovered the Flight of the Witches, one of your music, it really reminded me like in Macbeth, where the witches symbolizes the supernatural, and and it's really the question where the witches are in Macbeth. They really question the nature of free will because of their prophecies, and whether the prophecies are going to be put in action, or they're going to be an impact on the action. So that was really interesting to have you on the show and talk about that side as well of the good and evil and the witchcraft side. How would you qualify your music? I read that you say when electronica, chamber music, and dark ambient fuck together. Sorry, I think it's the time I can say it, but
that's it now.
I think it's beautifully done, like beautifully described. Anything else you wanna add?
No, it's.
I mean, it's
okay.
It's very singular, so it's difficult to put tags on what Grégoire is doing, because he's like such a broad producer, and like it really like tells stories.
Yeah, I mean, and I've got a lot of respect for everyone's music, and everyone is unique, but there are some. At the beginning, when I was hearing it, there were some really deep justice song, and that was like, I mean, I'm a fan, so I was a fan straight away. Anyway, I just wanted to say that. First EP, Metamorphosis. So there are two music there: Medicine Brothers and the Flight of the Witches. There is one persona in your video clip that comes on into scene, and it's Olivier de Sagazan.
Yeah.
Would you guys want to there is a collab you've made with him? He's a painter and a sculptor. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So he's coming from my own hometown, and we thought immediately of him when we wrote this concept of doing a few films about this theme. So we met with him, we made him listen to the music, and we asked him if we could stay at his home for a week or something. And and he said yes. So we went there. And this guy is really interesting because he's living. He invented something that's called the human mask. I think that's how it's branded now. And he's mixing painting, sculpting, and performance.
Yeah.
And he is fascinated with deaf people. That's his main theme, and he wants to create death as a reminder of him being alive. I think something like that.
Wow.
So when you go to his home, there is cadavers everywhere and it's very perturbing. It's very strange.
This story, yeah, a bit.
And I don't know, maybe Charlie, you can, because I knew him since I was a child, because my town is small. So this kind of guy, you just know what he does because it's not really usual. But I bring Charlie to his home for I think just the first day of the shoot. I went there before to talk with him, to have the authorization to shoot, and then I asked Charlie, so yeah, let's go there next week. And he came, and the first few minutes was, you can talk about it.
It was, this guy was like intense. He looks normal from the outside, but he's, when he start like doing his thing, first we came on the first day with like a script. He has a very interesting life, and we wanted to put within our like 7-minute short movie, kind of like recreate and pay like like homage to like how he became who he is right now, and the new art form that he created. And we realized within like a couple minutes speaking to him that we can put our script in the trash and we're just gonna freestyle. So first session we done with him, he's putting himself in some kind of trance, burning like hay and like I don't know, like sage, and he's like chanting. And so we were doing 20 to 25 minute take with like no cut of him getting into like what he does, and I was just like moving freely around him with the camera, and breathing the smoke and listening to him like singing. It was one of the like strangest like filming also like experience. It was great, but I was really like going in trance with him, capturing those images. And as he loved to show death in his like any like sculpture, and in particular like when we were filming. So he's creating those sculpture and killing them in front of the camera, like lighting them on fire, and then let them rest. And then like sometimes like nature is taking over them, and like it's really wild. And so we done this every day for 6 days, like 20, 25 minutes every day in different settings. Sometimes it was in his workshop. Sometimes we were like, he was bringing us on top of like a tree and like putting himself on fire in the middle of a tree. Then we were like in the middle of like the sea next to his house. It was like super wild, like shooting. But the result is amazing, I think.
Yeah, we'll see the result because we'll play the video clip. Hey, the collective opera. Do you want to talk about that, Grégoire?
Yeah. So maybe 6 years ago now, with my wife, which is also an artist, we decided to put together transmedia opera.
Yep.
So it's it was a story of 2 hours, and we wanted to do a show that mixed chamber music, a string quartet, electronic music, and techno, a narrative film of 2 hours, and actors on stage with finding a way to make people from the audience to participate to the show. So we made them vote. We had some action scenes in their space. The lightings, in the audience. The lightings was not only on stage but also on their side. So it was very strange in a way. I don't know. And so to put that together, because on stage we were 15 or something, and we needed to shoot a 2-hour film. We needed to do many things that are not usual in France. So we put together this organization, which is called Collectif Opera, which is a union of 30 European artists from multiple art forms, which all have this appetence, this
appetite, or
for multiple forms of arts, and that are open to mix their specialty with others, and want to learn some other stuff. And since then, it's been developing. So we have young talents also that are coming with us. And the idea is to share knowledge, positions, tools also, because we have a recording studio now. We have an audiovisual company called Wizard Pictures with Charlie. So we have cameras, we have all the equipment. So for young artists which have a vision and talent, we bring them with us. They participate to everything we do creatively, and we let them use everything, and we work for them when they are developing their own projects.
Nice.
So it's getting bigger in the area. We have now the help of the local authorities to have bigger spaces, and it's a group of friends, of creative friends who want to learn new things and try stuff that they are not used to in the regular,
Nice. So you're a platform for young artists, basically.
Yeah.
So I just want to name some of them: Paul Colon, Ava, Eddie's Born. I've listened. There's some beautiful music there. What's next for you two?
We are working on many different projects at the same time. I'm putting together 6,000 square meter places downtown in my city to unite all the professional from the music area and the film area in one place with common tools and stuff. It's called Ecosphere. We will have some news in a few months now if it's going to be there. So it's a lot of work for me. We are working on a documentary about people that how do you say that, Charlie? Programmateur?
Booking agents and people in the region of Nantes who actually change the landscape of the cultural landscape, we'll say, but more towards like the music.
Yep.
So people that created like what became now massive music festival or big music or theater venues. Those kind of like people who really influence the culture in this area.
And we are working also on we are working on a documentary about DJ Snake also. That is almost done. We can say that. And we have
it's a big one.
Yeah, and we have written 2 TV shows that we want to develop also. One is called Anima Corda. It's about crazy people in a small town during a chamber music festival. So it's a small town in the mountain that is going to explode because people are despairing. We have quite a lot of projects actually.
Nice.
We have short film also.
We'll definitely follow you. I'm a big fan of you too, so I will definitely follow you. Final question: free will, gift, or illusion?
For me it's both.
Okay.
For me it's both because being able to think or act without a major outside influence, I think it's maybe one of the most difficult things to do, because we have this bias of cultural, educational, sometimes genetical, neuronal, hormonal influence. So I say for me, it's a day-to-day exercise to train my brain to try to have free will in a way.
Nice.
Like, I think it's something when you do music, there is this kind of, when you compose every day, you have to challenge yourself every day to not do the same thing, develop the same idea or say the same stuff. I think for free will, it's a bit of the same, maybe exercise, trying to think outside of your way of thinking, being interested by people that do not think the same as you, it's training for me in a way. It should be training, and we have what we call, the les murs de verre, c'est ça l'expression? The glass wall, yeah.
Glass ceiling.
That's yeah, exactly. There is different iterations of this, and to break them and to go to the same to the other chapter, you have to train. I think,
nice.
In a way. So I don't know.
That's interesting. I think it is like a daily practice. No, it is a daily practice, and I like the idea of like someone going back to the source and following what like Yoki was saying. Is like there's so much like ideology and like culture that like we bathe in. What's important is to like unlearn, and like a process of like the more you unlearn what your surrounding has been putting in your head and like how you behave, like you can get closer to maybe free will, but you need to forget everything. Like maybe like child, when you're born, like for a couple of seconds
you need to
have free will, and then you fucked. It's too late.
Thank you, gents. Really appreciate. Please stay with us because we've got now someone exceptional. Aurélien, how are you?
I'm fine, super fine. It was super interesting to hear you guys.
You're still here, so yeah, it took a bit of a while, but Aurélien, alpinist, skier, mountaineer. Do you want to talk a bit about your childhood, growing up in Chambéry or Chamonix? Both.
I'm actually living in Chamonix since 15 years or kind of. Yeah. I'm not originally from Chamonix. I was.
You say Chamonix and not Chamonix.
Yeah, I said Chamonix.
Okay.
But first, I was saying Chamonix.
Yeah.
As everyone.
So you were born in where were you born?
Yeah, I'm born in Chambéry. It's not that far. It's 1 hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's a different place. I mean, Chamonix is really special. It's the place where you can find the best athlete in the world. I mean, I see Yoki in Chamonix. I know he was here. You can see the video where he just passed under the bridge. It's at the du Midi. It's like the Disneyland for us. If you're a skier, mountaineer, climber, paraglider, every best athlete in every discipline just pass in Cham when they're in their life. And I'm not from Chamonix. That's the cool thing, because I didn't grow up here. I'm here since I'm 7. My parents are not from Chamonix, so I don't have a culture. I don't have at the base the Chamonix culture and the mountain culture. So I have to learn learn it and to learn and to be able to ski up there. First of all, I was a ski racer, and I had quite a good level. I was racing in Europa Cup, so it was already super hard. And then I just broke myself. I broke my knee, classic one. and finally, I just look at the mountain and was saying, "Wow, it's crazy! I really want to ski up." And I see I read a lot of books. I see all the videos, the movies about the pioneers in Chamonix and the steep skiers, and the possibilities are just insane and unlimited. So it was just natural to, after that ski racing, to go explore the mountains and to be able to just put what I learned during all those years in the steep, and especially when it's icy or when it's difficult. It's really what I like. I mean, so that's what I'm quite doing.
Hold this thought, Craig. If you want to show the intro on Aurélien.
Yee-hoo!
Puis là, le problème, c'est que je vais devoir me mettre le plus gros double de ma vie aussi, quoi. Putain, j'ai mal au bide.
Oh là là, le moral!
This is the playground, yeah?
Oh yes. So yeah, it's really special to live in Sham because you every day. I mean, if it's the classic runs, they are still dangerous. You still have to be really focused and to be ready for it. It's those mountains are not jokes, and you really have to respect them. And I think that's the best place to train and then to go for expedition all around the world.
In April this year, you skied a new line dans the Aiguille d'Argentine, c'est ça?
Argentière.
D'Argentière, pardon, in the Mont Blanc. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, that's today is the main thing I'm searching for. I really like the idea to be the first, always with friends for sure, to be the first person to try a new line, to open new lines, and it's like mathematics, you know. You have to see if it's possible. You have to look at the line every day during all the winter and to really be able, the day you go for it, to be able to go at 100 or 200% and to be sure, or trying to be sure that you can ski it or you can go down. It was that line was special because I was with Tom Lafaille. You maybe know his father. He was one of the biggest Himalayas ever. We are good friends, and we were looking for that line because we really like expose things. If we can ski over the cliff, it is the thing that we really like. For the moment, I'm not jumping from the cliff as Yoki, but one day I really hope I can do it. But for the moment, I just stay over the cliffs, and that line was super interesting for this. It was like a painting, you know. You can imagine that as an artist, and you just write the line on the picture. And it was over the cliffs from top to bottom. It was super exposed, but not that steep. But it was a super itinerary. It was super, it was like a dream, you know. You are just flying over the cliffs with your friends. Nice day, sunny. It was awesome, really.
Why is it so important to open new lines for you?
I don't really know. It's probably a question of ego, for sure.
Yeah.
Probably, but it's also artist point of view. I don't know how to paint or to draw, so I have to do it with my skis.
Nice.
And the person that I inspire me open lines. So it's the logical way to do it, to ski. And yeah, when you are at the bottom of the face and you finally see that it's working, and it was working pretty well. The best thing I think you can add after that, if friends or other people goes for repeat the line, and that's also the good thing on opening lines, that you can open the way, you know, more lines and more pleasure for everyone.
Nice. So you've done quite a few trips around the world, still skiing and hiking, and you were talking to Yoki about, he was asking, do you hike? Oh, yes, I do, quite a bit. Do you want to talk about home lines, and then we can talk about your latest movie that just been released, Upo Kunshun. But yeah, home lines, so that was 11 days. I advise everyone to watch the movie. It's on YouTube. It's called Home Lines. Yeah. So tell us what 11 days. How many people were you?
We were 6 or 7 with the media crew, and it was quite special because it was just after the lockdown.
Yeah.
After the 2 years.
In February,
so it was
2021.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. So it was really, really good for us because it was the first time that we can go far from home and to be able to be in the mountain. I mean, without the cops everywhere, you know, or the helicopter. Or so that was the cool thing.
Were they ready? Were they in the mountain? The cops were in lockdown, or
in Chamonix, helicopter every day. And they just grab people on glacier and take them down with the helicopter to the valley. It was crazy. So it was good for that. So it was 10 days with friends. The idea was to do a lot of skiing, a lot of different skiing. I was the only steep skier. There is a freerider, Jackie Passo from US. There is Colin Balebaz, freestyler. Super strong freestyler, and Leo Taillefer, freerider and freestyler. He did the movie Zabardast. Maybe you see it in Pakistan. So the idea was, just friends skiing around a base camp. We were alone in the Beaufortin range, and it was super cool because every day we just did a lot of different things. One day we just gonna jump. Do some jumps. Next day we're gonna steep skiing, and then at the end of the day we were just all together for the sunset with beers, and it was really the dream after the lockdown. It was the best thing you can have for sure, and that movie was super cool. We did a lot of different festivals, a lot of screening, and people really like it. It was like a cool things for everyone after the lockdowns, for sure.
Nice. Craig, do you want to show Upur Kunchun, the trailer, and then we can talk about it afterwards?
C'est un grand toboggan géant le machin là. Waouh. Voilà. Ouais, tiens, filme-moi bien là. Oh putain, mais là, ça va jamais faire. Bombarde. Bernardo s'assimile. On a un peu de la vinesse. Coucou. Voilà. Yes, mon pote. Putain, mon pote.
Non, parce que là, eux ils ont cru qu'on était venus skier des 6000. Mais là c'est un stage trail.
So it's not only skiing, but it's donkey riding as well.
Oh yes, it was the first expedition we all did in Cham. We were 8 young riders or people from Chamonix or around. I just turned 26 and the younger was at this moment 19, something like this. So at this moment I was 24. It was not this past summer, but 1 year ago. And we were in Peru, Cordillère Blanche. It was an important place for us because it was the next step after skiing the mythical or important lines in Chamonix. It was logic to go higher. In Cham, the highest point is 5,800 meters, the Mont Blanc. And in Peru, we try to go at 6,700. It was a super good experience because it was for sure hard, super hard. We had to work for it. We have to really go for it. The snow conditions are really special in Peru. You have a lot of winds and no snow, so at 99% the snow conditions are icy and super extreme. So it was a real experience, and then it helped me to be better on my next expedition. This past summer, for example, I was in Kyrgyzstan, and the Peru experience was really good for that, because for sure I just grew up in Peru, and it gave me the possibilities to be better for my past expedition.
And the Kyrgyzstan one is 25 days autonomous, yeah? Is that? And the movie's coming out next year, yeah?
Yeah, next year it was 25 days of autonomy for 3 days of skiing.
And 180 Ks of walking.
Yes.
Nice. Nice.
Because it was a really special place. It was the first time that people just came in that range during this period of the season of the year, and it was the first time that people bring skis or snowboard in that range. So it was for sure really difficult, super far, really exposed because you don't have any heli or any security.
Yeah.
So it was quite special, and we find mystical mountains, full white, bigger than 5,000 meters, and the footage are crazy. Really, it will be a crazy movie and a super story.
Well, looking forward to seeing it. Where can we see? Upurkushun. Where can we see it?
Upurkushun. That means cheers.
Cheers, Santé. Yeah, that's why there is Santé. Yeah.
Because we had a lot of time in the bar in Peru. Okay.
So where can we see that movie? Where can I?
So for the moment, we can see it in internet. We just start the festival.
Yeah. Okay.
We just start the screenings. We had already one date. It was in Annecy for the I5 festival. And like next week we are in Chambéry, then we are in Lyon, Grenoble, and after the movie we'll go everywhere in Russia, in US,
in Nantes.
Festival. Don't think so. Sorry guys. And not in Norway. I don't think so. But yeah, you know, we just active the movie. We are just screening a lot because it's a beautiful movie. The creators of the movie did a crazy work and beautiful work. So we just screen the movie a lot in cinema, and then it will be on internet for sure, like YouTube or kind of.
Nice. Well, waiting for it. The feeling of skiing. Tell us what it is for you. What do you feel when you ski?
Well, when I'm skiing, always it's really important for me to always be with friends because it's really important. You know, I can't share and feel the same thing if I'm alone that when I'm with friends. And then I really feel alive and happy when I'm on the edge, because it's the moment that I feel I'm at 200% me and controlling everything. More I'm scared, more I'm on the edge, more I feel stronger, you know, because my brain is totally focused. I'm just one person, you know, under me and in the mountains. We are just really one thing, and that's the moment I just totally forget everything and just living the moment, every turn, every slide, every rocks, and that's the best thing. And as Yoki said before, when I think it just land for me, when I just pass the last crevasse or I finish the line, I breathe, I look at the mountain, and I think about the every moment, every important moment, every move, and it's like drugs for sure, and it's the best feeling ever for me.
So, free will, is it a gift or an illusion?
Oh, I think free will. I can't. I mean, I would like to tell you free will is not is real for sure, but in my point of view, in mountains, you have 95% of free will, and then you have the last 5% of objective risks that you can't control. Sometimes it's more, but I think every time I was on my skis on top of a line, or kind of with my paraglide, or if I decide to go, my free will is here, and normally it will be fine for sure. And that's what I really think, just on my discipline and what I do. After, for sure, in general, I'm trying also to have my free will, but for sure. Sometimes you have the 5 little % of objective risk or things just happening in life that you can't control.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure, everyone. Thank you so much. I mean, we're right on time. Before we end the show with the official video of Le Vol des Sorcières, the flight of the witches, I'd like to thank you, my guests, Aurel, Yoki, Grégoire, Charlie. Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so much for being you and making us dream for whatever you do. I'd like to thank as well my crew, Karen and Craig, the magician in the background. Next show will be with the Canadian photographer Taylor Burke on Friday, 28 October. So, free will, illusion, or the greatest gift? I will leave you to decide. I'll leave you to decide. But I'd like to end this with these words from Yoki. I want to see this planet. I want to experience life. I want to enjoy any moment this planet has to offer. Ubuntu, my friend. And Craig, take it away and see ya.